What kind of a relationship do we have with the environment that surrounds us? How do we live together and interact with others? Are there ways to support social connection yet maintain our ways of living and beliefs, our own space as individuals? The discipline of architecture can provide answers to all these questions. The field of architectural design gathers the knowledge and skills needed to define the frame, the environment in which our lives unfold. It deals with the creation of spaces that shelter our activities and the definition and materialization in the form of buildings and urban spaces. I am Fernando Nieto. I am an architect and professor of architectural design at the Tampere School of Architecture, Faculty of Built Environment. I do research in design methods and strategies in architecture and teach about these topics. Before describing what kind of work I do, I will elaborate on a few ideas or general concepts that introduce it. To begin with, I wish to vindicate a term whose use has diminished in the last decades in favor of other concepts. It is the term ecology, the science that studies the inhabitants of an environment through the relationships established among them and with the environment itself. It is there, in those relationships, where architecture plays a role of mediation between us and the environment. One significance of architecture is related precisely to those relationships that the term ecology refers to. We all understand the aesthetic and social values of architecture and its environmental impact too, when we consider the strong influence of building construction in the present climate crisis in terms of carbon emissions and footprint. The current notion of cultural sustainability goes beyond understanding architecture as just the mere construction of buildings. It includes the cultural value or cultural significance of architecture as it translates into spaces, the ways of life, customs, habits, beliefs, and rituals of human beings at individual and societal levels. I'm not too much in favor of the compartmentalization of knowledge in the discipline of architecture. From my perspective, we need architects with a holistic view of the discipline, professionals who are able to understand and apply knowledge related to different technical as well as humanistic aspects that are embedded into their work. This knowledge is related to a broad variety of factors such as historic, cultural, artistic, constructive or technical, and even sociological and philosophical factors. The conjunction of all these factors allows architects to provide answers in the form of physical realities that previously did not exist. The application of this knowledge is therefore very often done through practice. Donald Schoen was an American philosopher and scholar who talked about architects, among other professionals, as reflective practitioners. He explained that they follow a process of reflection in action when they identify a problem and propose a solution through a set of more or less systematic steps. Some authors consider the design process in architecture as akin to the endeavor of doing research. The similarities have to do with the fact that both involve the production of new knowledge. In addition, the design process can be systematized through iterative steps of analysis and synthesis, like in an experiment, and the results are equally replicable. The outcome of the design process materializes in the form of a building or an urban space through a plan or project. Architectural projects are the synthesis of the characteristics, the constraints, and the opportunities of a given problem in the form of a new proposal that modifies reality. The architectural project is the tool that we architects have to translate our conceptions or designs into physical entities. It contains the choices as well as the renunciations, the known elements as well as the discoveries, going beyond the mere solution of a set of needs or requirements in a given context. In an analogy with a chess game, it consists of a few elements or pieces that can be combined in multiple ways to produce countless situations. The architectural project gathers the decisions made during the design process in a document that contains plans, drawings, visualizations, and texts. Architectural works, be they competition proposals or built works, are often showcased in exhibitions. They are published in forums for the works or proposals to be widespread and places where architects meet their peers and the general public. Exhibitions are therefore venues for the dissemination of results and for societal impact too. Before entering the academic world, I practiced architecture for some years in diverse collaborative manners. I tried to use my professional experience as an architect in my work as a researcher and an educator. At the disciplinary level, in the last few years, we have been investigating the traits or features of modernist and contemporary architecture. Special emphasis has been on the Nordic context. The influence of the 20th century architecture masters in the Nordic countries is still of utmost importance to understanding today's ways of doing and current practices. In Finland, important references are, for instance, architects Alvar Aalto, Erik Bryggman, Arne Ervi, or Reima and Raili Pietilä. For example, we have studied why Alvar Aalto was, in our view, a pioneer of cultural sustainability with his built work and his understanding of nature as something that could be intervened in by architecture. This was put into practice by Aalto, for instance, in the small scale in the design of summer houses. In doing that, he developed topics such as the relationship between architecture and nature, the application of vernacular construction systems in novel ways, or using the metaphor of ruin in his architecture. By and large, contemporary architecture, be it public buildings or housing, contains abundant features that may be seen as innovative or groundbreaking today. However, many of them were actually devised and implemented already decades ago by the modern masters. In addition to research in the discipline, we do studies at a multidisciplinary level too, in collaboration with other fields of knowledge. We are exploring issues that are currently in the spotlight, such as the phenomena of loneliness and social isolation in our present society, dominated by the global technological revolution. The causes of those phenomena are usually only associated with psychological and demographic factors related to an aging and individualistic society. Our interest as architects is in finding out the role and implications of the built environment in such issues. We also try to explore what architecture and architectural design have to say to mitigate them. We are doing it through a set of projects carried out in collaboration with other fields within the social sciences and technological disciplines. In these projects, the discipline of architecture takes an intermediate position with again a mediation role because of its technical and humanistic nature. Another of our present research projects is dealing with the exploration of more effective ways to design and visualize public buildings and urban spaces in collaboration with the final users. We bring together architects who are working as scholars, researchers, and professors at different universities, and architects who practice the profession at architecture offices and consultancy firms. Our goal is to help Finnish architecture companies implement the green transition by seizing the opportunities brought by digitalization and the new tools for designing the public sphere collaboratively. In the end, coming back to my initial questions, it is all about the consideration of architecture as the medium between us and the environment. This is put into practice through the formulation of spaces that, sheltering a variety of activities, can be appropriated freely and in multiple ways by the users. An architecture of community and individuality which can act in a balanced manner as an enabler of both social connectivity and the possibility of developing our identity as individuals.